guys, this is a video for clue number 7 for the Are You Game Puzzle Mystery Quilt through Cotton Cuts. We are already on month 7, months are flying, so we have all of our clue pieces here. We have our little clue chart, and I'm going to go ahead and take all my pieces out and make sure I have the appropriate amount, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So it looks like we're going to have 4 separate pieces today. And they're going to be pretty long, but it looks very basic, very easy. They should sew together really quickly. So let me go ahead and get all of my pieces laid out and we will get started. All right, so I have all of my pieces. So for fabric A, we have 8 pieces. So if you were working with Team Cranium, it should look like this. For fabric B, I have another 8 pieces. It should look like this deep purple. For fabric D, I have just 2 pieces of these rectangles, so we have 3 sets of rectangles. And then for the C fabric, we should have 2 really long pieces, and then we have 4 squares. And then for C fabric as well, we should have 4 triangles, and then for the E fabric, 4 more triangles. So we are going to be working with just the A and B fabrics to start with, so I'm going to go ahead and just put everything else to the side. Okay, so we're basically going to create an AB, AB, ABA pattern. So it's going to look like this, clue number 1, and we're just going to go down the pattern. So we're going to go ahead and put an A piece at the top, B, A, this reminds me of a step we've already done. I think it might have been on month 3 or 4. All right, so we have A, B, A, B, A. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll all stick together. And then 7. So we should have something that looks like this, just like our clue piece. So A, B, A, B, A, B, A. All right, so we're gonna have something that looks like this when we're all done sewing it. So to start out, go ahead and put your first pieces right sides together, do a 1/4 inch seam allowance along the top, and then we're gonna go ahead and when we press these, we're gonna be pressing them towards the B fabric, and then we're gonna go ahead and attach this piece to this one and so forth and keep going down the rest. So I'll attach the first piece and come back and show you how I'll attach the second and where it should be pressing towards, and then we'll just kind of get this rectangle finished. Okay, so my first set has been sewn. I pressed my seam allowance towards the B fabric. So we're gonna go ahead and just take our next triangle, or I'm sorry, rectangle, and then we're going to put those right sides together and do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, press towards the B fabric again, open that up, and we're just gonna keep connecting these pieces as we go. So go ahead and connect your next piece, and I'll show you what it looks like when the rectangle is finished. All right, so after sewing all of your rectangles together, we should have something that looks like this. So we have a nice little pattern here, A, B, A, B, A, B, A. So we're gonna go ahead and take that long C rectangle that we have, and we're just going to sew those right sides together. We're gonna sew it to the right side of your rectangles. Go ahead, put right sides together. They should match up at the same length, and they do, 5 by 11. So go ahead and do a 1/4 inch seam allowance down the side, and we're actually going to repeat the same process again. We're going to combine the rest of our A, B rectangles together and then sew that remaining rectangle piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those done off camera, and I will show you what the 2 pieces look like all done. All right, guys, so those pieces are all sewn up. So that was section 7A. We should have 2 identical pieces. And then the C fabric, we press that seam allowance towards the C fabric. Make sure that all of your pressed seams are nice and flat with your stitches as well. And we can put those to the side. Those are all done. So we're gonna work with our remaining pieces now. So let's start with the B and D material. So B fabric, that dark purple. And then we have that dark blue if you're working with Team Cranium. So we're going to go ahead and make a rectangle that has the B fabric to the left side and the D fabric to to the right side, so we should have something that looks like this. We're gonna go ahead and sew those right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance, and when we're done, we'll press towards the B fabric. So you should have something that looks like this. Seam allowance is pressed towards the B fabric. We're gonna be making 2 identical pieces when we're all done. We're gonna have 2 that look just like this. So if you wanna go ahead and sew your remaining rectangle pieces just like we just did, feel free to do that. So the next step is going to be making a square with our 2 triangles. So we're gonna go ahead and take a C and E triangle, and we're gonna sew them right sides together, creating a square. You're gonna want your C fabric for the first square to be in the upper right-hand corner, and you're gonna want your E fabric to be in the bottom left. So we're gonna go ahead and put those right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you can do 2 of those identical to that because we're gonna need 2 anyways. So go ahead and get those sewn, and then we'll move on to the next step. My apologies, guys, by the way. I just totally skipped step 1, showing you guys how to put the C and E square together and where to press towards. So I do apologize about that. That's totally my pregnancy mom brain going on. So like I said, yes, make the 2 triangles into a square, but you're gonna wanna press towards the C fabric when you're all done with those. So we should have now our B and D rectangle and our 2 squares, and we're gonna connect these just like this on step 3. So we're gonna wanna make sure that our E triangle is touching our B and D rectangle on the top and bottom. So we're gonna have it look like that. You see that good? Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and have the E triangle touching the rectangle, and then the same thing on the bottom. So they're just kind of mirroring each other. So we'll go ahead and attach the top first, right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance, and make sure when you're sewing to make sure that these seams are staying nice and flat with your stitches. And then we'll go ahead and connect the bottom as well. And we'll do that right now. So I went ahead and attached the top piece first, and we're going to press this towards the B and D rectangles. So the seam allowance will face towards them. And then we'll go ahead and connect the bottom piece. All right. So your seam allowances should be pressed towards the B and D rectangles. All right, let's go ahead and attach the bottom. Get that sewn. 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, so we should have something that looks like this now. It should measure out to be 3.5 inches wide and 11 inches long, so it's perfect. Go ahead, and the last step is going to be taking 2 of our C squares, and we're gonna attach 1 to the top and 1 to the bottom, and then that clue piece is all done. So you'll see that it's not a perfect square. There is an edge that is longer than the other. Make sure you're just connecting the edges that are the same exact length. You'll see if you're the wrong way, you're gonna be over a little bit on each side. So that's just the only thing you need to watch out for, is making sure you're lining up the right edge. Go ahead and have those right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance, making sure that these seam allowances are laying flat in the back, and then we'll repeat the same step to the bottom, and then that clue is all finished. All right, so you should have a long piece, a long clue that looks like this. We're gonna go ahead and just press our remaining seam allowances towards the C rectangles. I was calling them squares this whole time until you realize that they're actually rectangles. All right. And just pressing over here. And then we're actually going to repeat all of the same steps to create an identical clue. So we have 2 pieces that look just alike. So nice, long, beautiful piece. The whole measurement should be 18.5 inches, which perfect, and then 3.5 inches wide. So go ahead and put that to the side, and we will just finish up our last pieces here, and we'll be all done with month 7. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these sewn together just like we just did, and I will show you all of the finishing clues, all the finished clues. All right, guys, that completes month 7 for Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Are you game? So we should have 4 separate clues this month. So we have 2 really long clues and then 2 more short and fat clues. I'm just loving how this cranium fabric is just coming together. I'm getting so anxious to put this all together. I cannot even wait. So Sorry for the probably all over the place tutorial this month. Total mom brain, pregnancy brain. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Comment below what team you guys are doing and how it's going. If you have me on your Facebook, I'm on More to Me Designs on a Facebook group. You can also tag me on Instagram at More to Me Designs. I would love to see your pieces and how they're coming together and what team you guys are on. We're approaching the end of our quilt so quickly, and it's just been so fun to put these together, and I can't wait until we're all done and we can see each other's quilts and just cuddle up with them. So go ahead, comment below if you have any questions, and I will see you next time for clue number 8. Bye.